Feeling my way through the darkness, guided by a beating heart. I can't tell where the journey will end, but I know where to start. They tell me I'm too young to understand.
Let's see, what did they do? I think the returning members did a really good job at reaching out to me and making me feel like I was part of the team. I definitely appreciated that, and I think that's one of the reasons why my first year as an RA was so good, and what made me want to return is the relationships that not only that I built with my residents, but also with my staff members.
The biggest thing that they did for me was let me know that I wasn't alone, that I could reach out to them for advice if I needed backup, if I had any questions, like please like text me, call me, like go to their rooms. They made themselves so available to kind of help me out, and it was just awesome because, you know, being a first year RA, it's kind of a whirlwind of excitement and nerves because all this information is being thrown at you during training, and you're hoping that, like, can I remember all this, like, when the time comes? And, you know, the returners are there, and they're just kind of, they're kind of holding your hand a little bit and saying, it's okay, you might mess up, but we'll be there, okay? So that was awesome. And, you know, the time came when I was a first year RA that I had to deal with a crazy situation that, of course, occurred very early in the morning, and afterwards I was tired, but I couldn't fall asleep because my mind was, like, in such a frenzy. And you know, I went up to one of the returning staff members' rooms and knocked and said, hey, I just really need to talk about this. And, you know, they said, like, please come in. Like, here's a glass of water. Here's a pillow. Here's a chair. Now just lay it on me. Like, what happened? And, you know, I was just able to sit and kind of vent and get, like, the weight off of my chest. And they were able to offer advice to me because they had been there before. And it was so great because I could walk back to my room and really feel relaxed and encouraged because that staff member took the time to really be there for me.
So my first year as an RA, I don't know, for anyone who's ever met me, you know, I am not a shy person. I don't feel awkward very easily, and that's just me. I don't get shy. But my first year as an RA, that first day of training, I came in and I was thinking to myself, what in the absolute world have I gotten myself into? I thought, Haley, you're not ready for this. You don't know what you're doing. This is crazy. There's some guy named Jason who seems way too excited about this. I don't know what I'm doing. But one of my favorite memories of that first year as an RA was the first day of training. I sat down and I was surrounded by people who I had never met before. It wasn't even people that I had seen in passing on the drill field. No, it was people I had no idea who I was sitting with, and it was the other RAs in my community. And I was nervous. I was very self-conscious. And within an hour, Jason had us do a bunch of different team building activities. And within an hour, I realized that the returning student staff members were so comfortable with each other. They were so comfortable with Jason. They were so comfortable in the RA role, and that was already apparent just in the first hour of training. And that's one of my favorite memories, just seeing how comfortable it was possible to be with an RLC, with your other student staff members. And it was just amazing.
I'm not gonna lie, I think in your second and subsequent years after your first years as an RA, you kind of lose the fire a little bit. You lose your drive, and you lose a little bit of, you know, you lose focus on why you came out to be an RA in the first place. And I think that's kind of due to the fact that, you know, you've already done the job once. You proved that you were good enough at it to do it again. There's nothing really that exciting or that's going to be that new. Of course, there's, you know, different challenges, but it's all really the same. And I think that was a little bit, you know, difficult. my second year specifically, I just got a different group of residents, and I was already very used to the relationships I had built with the residents I had my first year, and the dynamic on my hall was very different, and it made it difficult to do my job as well, I think. But I pulled through, and I think I did good my next year.
What makes returning RAs different from new RAs is that you all really have a taste of what this job means. The new RAs have an idea, probably around making bulletin boards, and you're always friendly and things like that, and you go to hall events, but you all really know what it means to be an RA. And we all had preconceived ideas of what this role would be, but then when we really got into it, we learned that we had to wear a lot of other different hats, and that this role encompasses a lot of different skills. And it's a fabulous position, and you get to be there, and you get to be real with the new RAs about what this job means, and you get to help them make the most of it, which is awesome.
So when I came in as a returning student staff member, would have been last year, I was a senior, returning student staff. I thought I ruled the roost. I thought I knew everything. But coming back in, one of my favorite things was that, if anybody remembers from last year, everyone on the Cochran Hillcrest staff was returning, which was a really interesting experience. And something that I felt was different as a returning student staff member is that you don't come in all jittery. You don't come in all nervous. You come in, or at least I did, I came in excited. And I knew what I was doing, and I knew, this was the big thing, I knew I could do better than I did the year before.
I would say that my favorite memory was probably during, what's it called now? Fall training. It was when Alex Brucker was the RLC of Miles and Newman. And one night when we had in-hall time, we just all got together in the Miles Hall TV lounge on the second floor. And we just shared stories about each other's lives. And we just communicated with one another. Let us know what was important to each other. And I think that was something that definitely helped strengthen our friendships and gave us a very positive vibe going forward into the new year.
Being a returning staff member, I was always so excited to work with the new RAs because they bring a new sense of energy, a new sense of enthusiasm, and really are just kind of like a breath of fresh air for staffs, because sometimes those 2 semesters can be long, and you're dragging your feet a little bit to the staff meeting and stuff. But these new RAs come in, and they are just so psyched to be able to serve their peers and to be able to, call themselves an RA. And I remember quite specifically long conversations that I had with Stephanie Daughter on my futon last year. She was a first semester RA, and she was just so excited, and I always felt uplifted after our conversations because her energy gave me energy, and it's fabulous.
And one of my favorite memories from my year as a returning student staff was we all got together. It was most of our staff got together, and we had this big crafting party, and we turned on a movie, and we did all of our door decks together. We did our bulletin boards together. It was a team effort. If someone got stressed out because they still needed to finish all the door decks and all that other stuff, we helped each other. And that's one of my favorite memories. Not just because it was crafting and I love crafting, but we all really worked together. And that's something that's different as a returning student staff member. As a first year, you get wrapped up in yourself, and you want to be the best RA you can be. And then I feel like the second year and the third year, the fourth year, even the fifth maybe, you get much more involved in your team, and you want your staff to do a good job. You don't just want to do a good job yourself, but you want the staff to do a good job. And that's something, like, I challenge you guys to remember that.
I guess the best tip that I can give is don't forget your why. Don't forget why you wanted to be an RA in the first place. If you don't lose sight of that, then, you know, this year and every other year you return as an RA is just as fun as the first year. And another tip is to just, you know, build those relationships with your staff members. They're going through the same thing that you are, and it's good to have someone there to lean on and support you through it, because being an RA is not always an easy job, even though it may sound like it. So take the support you can and give it when you can to your other staff members. That's it. Good luck this year, guys.
Tips for you all for this upcoming semester: don't lose your steam. Like, there are definitely trying points in this job, but you are the best of the best, and you can keep on keeping on as long as you take the time to recharge your batteries. You know, like, walk to Bolo's and get a cappuccino, or go take a nap on the drill field, or go and play some intramural soccer. Do whatever you need to do to kind of unwind and then be able to give your best to your residents. And remember that you are amongst this campus's finest leaders, and you're going to do great things. So thank you so much, and best of luck this semester.
We are a team as a staff. It's a team. It's a family effort. And I know as a returning student staff member, you feel like you rule the roost, you feel like you know everything, but you still have time to grow. And you can still make a huge difference. I remember last year, I was a senior. I was like, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go do different things. But I made myself stop. And I thought about it. And I was like, you know what? This is my last year here. I can still make a difference. I am part of a team. And this is going to be the best team. So I hope you guys have an awesome time at training. I'm so sad that I can't be there. I'm actually, like, it feels weird that I'm not moving back into tech, going to training, but I hope training's awesome. It always is. And I will see a lot of you guys soon. Bye.